What I've been doing with my cream makeup all in this one compact is something that I coined called see-through makeup. All that really means is that I am using a balance of different types of colors to minimize distractions on my face and then to bring out the things that I really want to accentuate, but do it in a really natural, pretty see-through way. I'm going to tell you guys what I'm doing as I'm doing it, giving you an explanation for everything, so that it'll start to make sense. Now, I know that a lot of what I'm going to do is going to look a little odd and it's going to look a little weird to you. So hello and welcome to my channel. I know it has been a hot minute since I last gave you guys a makeup tutorial. If you are over 45, 50, 55, 55 plus, and you love makeup, but you're finding that it's becoming increasingly harder and harder to wear makeup just because you don't like to see it on your skin. You don't like the texture. If you enjoy a more natural makeup look, I'm really excited to show you something that I have been doing called see-through makeup. I just made that up. See-through makeup. It's just me, and you can't see makeup on my skin. You can't see texture on my skin. There's no cakiness. I just feel fresh and just literally like the best version of myself. And I'm doing it all in one compact. The makeup that I'm going to use in this video is from Seint Beauty. Yes, Seint Beauty, that Seint Beauty, the one that used to be an MLM, a multi-level marketing company. They have changed their complete company structure. They are no longer an MLM company. I'm not here to recruit you to join an MLM or anything like that. What I'm basically doing is a lot of cream makeup textures. Please don't feel that you have to run out and get everything I'm doing or get Seint. If you have makeup in your collection right now that is similar to something that I'm using, go for it. Full disclosure, I am a Seint affiliate. So if you are looking at any products that I'm using, interested in them, maybe want to buy them, cool. I make a small commission. I will link it in the description below. I love cream makeup for mature skin. I have been doing makeup for over 20 years. And when I would do makeup on brides, special events, proms, when I would be traveling for regional makeup artist events for brands like Bobbi Brown, Laura Mercier, IT Cosmetics, I just really loved creamed texture, especially on older skin. Especially cream blushes on mature skin. You really just look lit from within. There's not as much texture as with powder products. So look through your makeup collection. If you have cream foundations, cream bronzers, cream blushes, then just follow along with me with this natural see-through makeup look, especially going into the warm weather months. You don't want to have a lot of makeup on your face. You don't want to get in front of someone close up and have them really tell that you're wearing makeup. You just want to be the best version of yourself. We all know we have imperfections. Some of us have acne. Some of us have pigmentations, tiny scars. We all have it. It's fine. When you get into the territory of wanting to just cover up everything with makeup, that's when stuff starts looking really matte, opaque, not natural. So if you want a natural, simplistic makeup look, you're going to love this one. What I've been doing with my cream makeup all in this one compact is something that I coined called see-through makeup. All that really means is that I am using a balance of different types of colors to minimize distractions on my face and then to bring out the things that I really want to accentuate, to bring some brightness and warmth and light to my face, but do it in a really natural, pretty see-through way. You may have products and things in your makeup routine that you've used for years and years, but you found as you've gotten older, it gets harder and harder to wear those products because they don't look as natural and they don't look as nice as you remember them looking. I call it see-through makeup, and I love the simplicity of it. I love the idea of having and just being able to travel with everything that I need, almost everything, in one compact. I'm going to tell you guys what I'm doing as I'm doing it, giving you an explanation for everything, so that it'll start to make sense. Now, I know that a lot of what I'm going to do is going to look a little odd and it's going to look a little weird to you. And the inspiration for this method, this see-through method that I love to do, is from a makeup artist by the name of Cara Brooke. She is the founder of Seint Beauty, and she is all about super natural, super pretty, minimal makeup. I saw a video of her on YouTube where she's explaining that rather than taking products that are the color of your skin You need to take colors that can cancel out and minimize distractions, and then also bring brightness and light and warmth to areas of your face that you do want to emphasize. And a lot of us will think, well, that kind of sounds like color correcting, right? So that's not a big deal. That's been around forever. If I was red, I would just buy a green concealer and that would cancel out the red. Or if I had, bluish purple, I would do like a peachy tone. It's kind of like that, but it's a lot more natural, and it's going to just kind of all make sense as I start doing it. I have a side mirror here that I'm going to look at, and I also have a close-up mirror for certain things that I'm going to do because the vision is going, let me tell you. But what I want to do, and what I want to encourage you to do, is when you're looking at your face, I just want you to look and see where are areas that you want to just cancel out and minimize. So if you have dark under eye circles, if you've got some pigmentation, sunspots, little acne marks, stuff like that, that's what you're looking for. You're going to look at your face and you're going to figure out what types of distractions do you want to minimize. And I also want to remind you before you even start that to try to attempt to blot out every single distraction or imperfection on your face, that is when you're going to get into the territory where the makeup's going to start looking really thick. So I don't know what your beauty outlook is or what your philosophy is, but mine has been, especially as I've gotten older, you know what? I've got sunspots. I've got bluish purple under my eyes. I mean, it just is what it is. I'm not going to be able to stamp out and get rid of everything. If I can just be a nicer, prettier, polished version of myself. I mean, I'm 51. It's never going to be the way it was when I was 25. And I am totally fine. I am here for it. So you do you, but again, just realize that the more that you try to really, really stamp out something like an acne mark or a pigmentation or under eye circles, the more makeup that you put on, you are going to see more texture, and it's probably going to look a little bit cakey and you might not like it. So that's why I think that maybe you should just give this method a try. See how you do. So for me, obviously I've got bluish purple under here. I do have some sunspots. Sorry, my skin is sticking to my sunscreen a little bit. Oh, and also for this method, for this see-through natural makeup method, you want really, really just prepped, juicy skin. You want to make sure that your skin is cleansed properly, that you are hydrated, and especially if you are going outside, SPF on your face, neck, minimum of 30. Also arms, starting into spring and summer. So just protect your skin, okay? I wanted to show you two of my favorite sunscreens that I always have at the ready. This is the Naked Sundays. I know I have showed you guys this one before. This is the Collagen Glow. It's 100% mineral sunscreen. It's an SPF of 50, and it is also very hydrating as well. And it's got a really nice neutral kind of tint to it, so all skin tones can use it. It doesn't leave a white cast. This one kind of feels a little bit like one of those putty primers that are so popular now, and it's a great, great base for makeup. All skin types can use it. If you are very, very oily, what I would say is maybe once it's dried down and your skin is really drunk it up, you can take a little bit of a clean tissue and just maybe blot like this, areas that you might be a little bit shiny in. Most skin types can get away with this one as your hydrator, your moisturizer, and your SPF all in one. Another one that I just recently discovered about 2 weeks ago that I am loving is from the brand called Vacation, and it's called Shake Shake, and it's also 100% mineral, and you have to shake it, and it reminds me of those really beautiful Japanese sunscreens that give moisture, hydration, protection, and it's super, super light. It doesn't leave a white cast, and it actually feels like skincare. I cannot stand those really thick silicone type of sunscreens that never really feel like they dry down. I love sunscreens that feel like skincare. So these are two of my favorites. What I'm wearing today, however, is the Naked Sunday. So remember I told you we're not going for perfection. Perfection doesn't exist. And what beautiful features on your beautiful face that you want to accentuate. So what I'm going to do is start off by bringing some warmth and life to my face with a beautiful bronzer color. I will definitely tell you the colors that I'm using, but if you have a lighter skin tone than me or a darker skin tone than me, you want to obviously use colors that are more suited for you. I'm going to take a contour color from Seint, and this color is called Auburn. And I'm aware that it is marketed as a contour color. However, it is beautiful as a bronzer. That's what I love about Seint. There are contour colors and bronzer colors that you can use interchangeably to warm up your face and give you a little life and dimension. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a shape brush from Seint, and I'm going to take the fluffier side, and I'm just going to not mash the brush in, but just lightly coat the bristles. See? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by just on the tops of my forehead, just where the sun would hit me. And what's nice about the contour is that the contour colors and the bronzer colors in Seint also give you a little bit of a light coverage. So I'm just going all along the tops of my forehead. My little hairs are sticking there to the SPF. And don't worry if, as I'm going, if stuff looks not blended, because everything will kind of just come together at the end when we just blend everything really beautifully. So again, just starting on the forehead, and then I'm gonna take that same color and I'm gonna go a little bit up underneath my chin here and along my jawline, just to give me a little bit of definition. Same color, auburn. This one's a nice one because it's a blend of a kind of goldy bronzer that's got a little bit of red in it too, which is a nice neutral choice. If you have very warm skin, you might find that red toned bronzers work beautifully for you because it kind of counteracts that warmth, and vice versa. You may find if you have pinkish reddy overtones on your skin, that you might find that bronzers that have a little bit of yellow and gold will add some much needed warmth to your face. The idea is to balance everything out. And then I'm gonna, again, take that brush and I'm going on the tops of my cheekbones. And remember, apply your bronzer where the sun would naturally hit you. And the sun naturally hits us on the tops of our cheekbones, the bridges of our nose, and the top of our forehead. It doesn't usually go on our neck though. Our necks tend to be a lot lighter than our face because we don't really get sun down here. So that's why it's good to kind of balance that out a little bit underneath. But these contours and these creams that Seint sell, they are so buttery and so soft that they just literally melt into the skin. So here is a little trick that I learned from watching Cara Brooke, the founder of Seint. So she talks about when you're looking at, say, something dark on your face, like say a dark under eye, rather than choosing a concealer or a foundation product that matches your skin tone, what you can do to kind of balance that out is add a little bit of warmth and depth near that dark area. So what I'm going to do is take the shape brush and I'm going to flip it around, dip it in the same color, and then I'm going to go, you see how you can see that dark and it's more predominant because there's light right next to it? So if I take the opposite end of that shade brush and just add a little bit of warmth and color right on that white part of the skin that's next to the dark under eye, without doing anything else, just watch. I know it kind of sounds and looks a little wonky as I'm doing it, but just trust me. Do you notice how when I'm just adding the warmth and the dimension around my tops of my cheekbones and then a little bit around where that dark is, that the dark starts to recede and not look as dark or prominent because it's blending now into that skin, that surrounding skin that I'm adding that warmth of that bronzer to. Isn't that amazing just what color does? And what's nice is you can play with these creams and keep playing until you get the depth of color that you want, and it's not going to show texture. It's not going to look like really heavy the way it would if you were working with, say, a powder bronzer. So creams are really our friends, especially as we get older. So, okay. So, and anything left that I've got inside my shape brush, I'm just going to take to that lower part of the cheek there just so that I don't look as stark white. But then I'm also going to put a little bit of a skin tone color in certain areas as well, but we haven't gotten to that yet. So all we've done so far, okay, again, is taking our cream bronzer product. Mine is called Auburn Contour from Seint, but whatever cream bronzer you have, go for it. And again, remember, tops of forehead, and you can go down a little bit into your temples as well. You would never want to go down into your temples with, say, a contour color. Contour colors are traditionally, if they're a good contour, they have gray in them. And as we get older, you don't ever want to start contouring your temples, because then you kind of look like Skeletor and your face looks a little bit more harsh and hollow. You don't want that. So did you notice the difference? So right now, I just look warm and flushed, like I've just spent the afternoon in the sun. And then what was left on my brush kind of swirl. I even did a little bit on my nose bridge. And also what you can do is you can take a smaller blending brush, like say an eyeshadow brush. This one's the eyeshadow brush from Seint. And I'm taking the fluffy side. You can even take that same bronzer and you can use it as a contour shade for your eyeshadow. And it's gonna look beautiful because it's going to be completely in harmony with the color that you've been using on your face to just warm up and just look sunny and bright and beautiful. You see that? That? So easy. And just build up. And what's nice about creams is that you can build them up, and then if they start to look a little dark for you, you can just blend them out. So that is all I've done so far, is basically take a cream product, cream bronzer, and go all over my face to add some warmth and dimension. And what's on this eyeshadow brush, again, just do a little bit more next to where that darkness is, and it just kind of knocks that back a little bit, so it doesn't look as dark. Isn't that amazing? I love it. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in and just give a little bit of coverage to the middle parts of my face. I'm gonna take this brush from Seint called a wash brush, and this is just a really, really soft, kind of light, fluffy brush. And I'm going to take this color, and this color is called Amber. And what I'm gonna do is just dip my brush into amber, just swirl it around a little bit. If you want to mash that color into the brush using the palm of your hand, go for it. And that's a nice way to reduce the amount of texture that's going to show up on your face as well. Creams don't show texture when used properly anyway, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in the middle parts of my face that I didn't go with that bronzer, with the warmth of that bronzer. So I'm gonna go under here, a little bit on the sides of the nose. Let's dip a little bit more into amber here. And it's important that when you are using your skin tone color in the middle of your face, that it is not too light. If you are using makeup and it feels like no matter what you do, it always shows texture, it's probably because, even if it's a formula that seems to work with your skin, what's probably happening is that the color's too light. Because too light makeup colors, especially on mature skin, always show texture. So that is all I'm doing, just a little tiny bit. I'm buffing it. And then just kind of take a step back, look, see where you are. See if you like what you see. Very easy. I try not to do skin tone coverage products down the bridge of my nose. I find that it looks more artificial. I've told you guys this before. That is one of the places where if you've got thick or thicker makeup on the bridge of your nose, the eye catches it and it doesn't look real. It doesn't look like real skin. This same brush, this wash brush, I'm going to flip it around to the smaller side. I'm going to go into amber again. And then what I'm going to do is just do a little bit just at the corner of my eye to lift up. And then I've got a couple of sunspots here I'm just going to tap on. Remember, we're not going for perfection here. We're just going to minimize some distractions. And I really make sure to take care that I blend along my chin, because a lot of us, as we get older, we get that kind of ripply orange peel skin. And even have your close-up mirror handy so that you're really buffing that cream into the skin. Well, I don't know if I want to say buff, because I don't want you to sit there and make squiggly circles. What I actually like to do is like stipple. See how I'm bouncing it? It's like people that use beauty blenders, and they love beauty blenders because they can just bounce the makeup. You can do that with a soft brush too. Just bounce the makeup on your skin so that it looks like your skin and not makeup. So now I'm going to go back to my shape brush, which had a little bit of that bronzer left on it, and I'm just go back and touch up. Go on the tops of the cheeks here, top of the forehead again. If you need to add a little bit more product to the brush, go ahead. And if you're worried about depositing too much color, just mash your brush into the palm of your hand. Just be careful not to rest the palm of your hand on your clothes or anything. And I'm going to flip it around and just add a little bit more of my warmth. And creams are so forgiving. You could literally just sit here and buff and play and stipple all day and still look pretty and look natural. Okay. So we've done the warmth, we've done the dimension with our bronzer, which is our auburn color. I added a little bit of light coverage and just stippled and buffed that on with a really, really light wash brush. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look and I'm going to see that I have got bluish purple discoloration under my eye. I'm pretty blue here, and I'm mostly purple here. So I have a cream corrector product that I really love. And let me make sure that I'm giving you the right, I have like my little notes here. This is Y01. And that cream corrector stands for a yellow orange. It's a blend of a yellow orange level 1, which means for fair to light complexions. And I'm gonna go in with a little bit of that Y01 color, and I am going to just try to blur and minimize that blue right here on my nose bridge. This area on our nose bridge thins as we get older, and that's why you look darker when you're older. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this brush, it's called the Blur brush from Seint, and I'm going to use the fluffy side. I'm going to dip it really lightly into that Y01 right there, and you can use the palm of your hand again if you want to just mash that color into the brush. And then very lightly, I'm just looking off to the side here, but I want to make sure you guys see what I'm doing as well. I'm doing a very light wash just on that blue. Again, I'm going to dip my brush in. Let me get my close-up mirror here so I can actually see what I'm doing. And I'm literally just tapping and stippling it in on that blue discoloration. And keep going and patting until you get the level of kind of canceling out that you're looking for. Look at that. Okay. And I'm also taking the blur brush in the Y01, dipping it again, and going a little bit down in here as well, where I've got that purple. That's why I like this Y01, because the yellow cancels out the purple and the orange cancels out the blue. Now we're not completely done, but I'm just tapping, you guys. I'm barely touching the skin. I know that it looks a little bit more intense on camera, but I really am just lightly tapping. You see that difference? Lightly tapping that. And then I'm going to take this brush. This one's called the Bright brush. I'm going to go to this color called O3, which is Orange Cream Corrector Level 3, because this is going to cancel out any additional blue. But it's going to do it very lightly, and it's going to do it without texture, which is what we want. Remember, we're not going for perfection. We're just going to cancel out these discolorations. Can you guys see the difference? Isn't that nice? I love it. It's so nice, and there's no texture. And then a lot of times what I'll do is whatever's left on my brush, I'll go on the outer corner again, just to kind of cancel out any bluish or purple that I might see on the outer corner. You can do that with your skin tone color that I did before, but you can also do it with your cream correctors. So look at the difference there, you guys. And there's almost zero texture. And if you do see a little bit of texture, what you can do is take a tissue or a paper towel, run your brush along the paper towel just to remove excess makeup, and then just lightly tap to remove any texture that you might see. But with creams, it's going to be minimal. So let's do the other side so that I match. I really love Seint makeup. I heard about it way back in 2019 and signed up back when they were an MLM. But I never really cared about building a team. I actually really wanted the 20% discount. Honestly, I loved the makeup so much. I was like, I want the discount. So that is that YL1 on the other side. So I'm going to take bright brush that I used with the 03. And I'm going to go a little bit down on that purpley part. And you can do a little bit. Now I know that you're watching it and you're like, Jennifer, this looks great and everything, but you want me to do this every day? Please trust me when I tell you that once you get your colors right and once you get a feel for your face, this goes by really fast. This is really, for me, less than 10-minute makeup. And it can actually be even less than 5 minutes if you, say, for example, just used the bronzer to warm your face up and maybe just a pretty cream blush. Some people don't even really care about filtering out the darkness under their eyes. They could care less. They're over it and they don't like texture under their eyes. And I say more power to you if that is you. I've always said that, you know what, children and babies have darkness under their eyes. It gives our under eye dimension and definition and makes us look human. A lot of times when you're looking at women close up that wear a lot of makeup and they're super bright in skin tone here, it's kind of like that uncanny valley type stuff where they look like androids and they don't look like real people. Seriously. So again, I'm taking my paper towel, just really lightly, just swiping my brush and just keep tapping and warming that product until you're satisfied that you don't see any texture. So I am really satisfied with just these two colors. I'll put the colors down that I use, but you have to get the colors that are good for your skin tone. Obviously, if you are darker, you're gonna want a darker orange tone to cancel out any intense bluish discoloration on your face. And then if you've got, say, for example, really intense purpley under eye circles, you're going to want to go for a yellow that's a little bit more intense than this YO1 that I've been using. But very pretty, just not a lot of makeup, and it just canceled out that darkness, and I am feeling really happy with this. So we've done our bronzer, we've done a little bit of concealing with our skin tone color. For me, that was auburn and amber. We've gone in with a little bit of color correcting underneath the eye with a really light kind of stippling application using the right types of brushes underneath the eye. And now you'll sometimes look in a mirror and you'll say, I don't look as warm or as bronzy as I did when I first started. And that's actually really normal because our skin really loves the cream makeup and it warms up and kind of melds with the skin. So if at this point you're looking and you're feeling like, hey, I want to add just a little bit more of warmth, you can go back with a super light application of your blush. Or I'm sorry, your bronzer. But I love it. It's so pretty, so pretty. So now what I want to do is I want to take a cream blush and give myself a little bit of a flush. And blush is important for mature women. A lot of mature women use bronzer as a blush, and that is perfectly fine. But the purpose of blush is to mimic the look of blood flow underneath your skin. And that is very youthful, and that really makes your skin look and come alive. Say if you've, done a hard workout, or you're, say, in a sauna and you're sweating and you come out and you've got that glow, that pink glow, that's that look that you're after. So bronzer, yes, you can use it as a blush, but if you really, really want to look flushed and youthful, use a cream blush as well. And the one that I really love is called Saffron, and it looks really intense, but when you are just really light-handed with it, it gives such a soft, pretty glow to the skin. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that shape brush and I'm just gonna mash the smaller side into my paper towel a little bit just to remove that excess bronzer. And I'm just gonna lightly tap it into my saffron. I like the satin cream blushes from Seint the best. We have glosses and we have semi-glosses, but I found that they don't wear as well on my mature skin. I prefer a more matte flush. It looks a lot more youthful. And then what I'm doing is just taking that brush and I'm just going lightly on the tops of my cheekbones. You don't want to go too low with your blush and you don't want to go too high with your blush. If you go too high, you start accentuating crow's feet and eye lines, but if you go too low, it can drag the face down. So forget all that stuff that we used to hear back in the day about smile and then do the apples of your cheeks, because as we get older, yeah, we'll smile, but then when we're not smiling, our face drops. So isn't that pretty? It's just a really soft flush, but I actually like more color than that. So I don't want to scare y'all, but I'm going to go in with it. And I do a very, very light dusting of powder to set my makeup. And I'm going to show you the special powder that I love from Seint and how it sets the makeup, but it leaves the life in my face. Like it doesn't overly mattify my skin. And then what I like to do is take that same brush and without dipping it into more cream blush product, I just do a little bit on the tops of my forehead here, like around my eyebrow. You can even do a little bit on your nose as well. You can take the blush tops of your cheekbones. You can also take a little bit around your temples too, because when people blush, they usually flush all over. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so let's do eyebrows. So I've got my little eyebrow brush here from Essence. What I like to do is brush my brows up, and I'll comb them into place in a second, but I like to do this because then I can see better the little areas that I want to go in and fill in with my eyebrow product. And what I'm using, I'm going to use a cream contour. This one is called Shadow, but I really like it because it's kind of like a cool medium brown color and it's really pretty on the eyebrows. So I take a slanted eyebrow brush, something similar to this. This one's from Ray Morris. And I just lightly swipe it alongside that cream contour called Shadow. And that's what I'm going to use to give my eyebrows a little bit of some dimension. I go in and I just kind of fill in where I feel like I'm a little bit sparse. And the cream contour is nice because it's like a colored brow pomade, really. And I'm not into eyebrow perfection. I'm just into making them look a little bit more fluffy and defined. And a really good tip that I learned in makeup school way back in 2002 Other than brows should be sisters, not twins. We've all heard that one. But also, say if you're a brunette like me, where you've got some lighter pieces and some darker pieces. Obviously, we're lighter at the ends, darker at the scalp. But don't necessarily try to make your brows as dark as the darkest hair in your head. That's really aging. So if you're a dark brunette like me, try to go for a medium brown type of color. You don't want to look too harsh. And really dark eyebrows as we get older is very, very aging. So what I like about this cream contour used in my eyebrows is it's like a pomade. It keeps the brows in place. Isn't that pretty? And then I will just use my eyebrow spoolie. This one's from Essence, but we all have one. And to kind of go in and just soften that color. And especially try to soften it here where the brows begin, because you always want it looking a little bit lighter and a little bit softer there. And I even like to kind of fluff up everything so that it looks pretty and that it looks natural. I don't have perfect brows. I don't want perfect brows. I just want them a little bit more fluffy and defined. And I think that's definitely what we've done. So now let's go back to our eyes. You remember that I took the Seint eyeshadow brush and dipped that into my bronzer, which is called Auburn, and I put a little bit there on my brow bone here as a nice contour. And that's really all I'm gonna do for my eyeshadow. I really feel like that's all I need, and it's just blending and marrying so pretty with the warmth of the bronzer all over my face. Sorry guys, my hair is sticking to my cream makeup, but it won't once I do a very, very light powder. So now what I like to do is, I don't know if I'm going to do eyeliner today. I just want to keep it super, super simple, but I did want to show you just one of my favorite super cheap eyeliner pencils. This one's from Wet n Wild. It's their kohl eyeliner. It's brown. I get it from Walmart. It's one of my faves. I'll do a tiny bit. So I just basically just a little bit along the lash line there. Just a tiny bit. You don't need to. I have my favorite lash extensions on right now from Kiss, the New Naturals. I believe my favorite is called Neo, but I'll put a little picture for you. And I'll also put a link to my tutorial about how I apply them. And I can make mine last up to 7 days, sometime longer, but I always make sure that I clean them at night for hygiene purposes. So let me find my Seint eyeshadow brush again, and you're gonna go in and you're gonna just make sure that you don't have any creases from that cream product. And then now we're gonna powder, and we're gonna lightly set everything. And I am a really big believer in powder. I mean, unless you're super, super dry and you're the type of person that, your skin just soaks up makeup and any type of powder just shows texture and looks awful. I would say in those events, you might want to check into your skincare and make sure that you're really hydrating and moisturizing your skin enough, because your skin should not be completely sucking up your makeup. That's usually an indication that you need a thicker moisturizer and you need a really good hydrating serum in your routine. But the powder that I am going to use that I love is from Seint. It's called the Feather Dusting Powder. This powder is a silicone-based powder, and I absolutely love it because zero texture on the skin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the brushes that I was using for my under eye color correcting and just lightly tap away. And you want to make sure that you buff everything out so that it looks beautiful the way you want to look before you go and you set everything. I love these little baby makeup sponges from Morphe, and I use them to powder strategically around my face. And you just fit your finger in like that. Isn't that funny? So I'm going to take that Morphe sponge and I'm going to lightly tap the Feather Dust powder. I'm going to go underneath there and make sure that we are all set. And then I'm going to go on the areas of my face where I tend to show a little bit of shine. because even at 51, I have combo skin, so I can get an oily T-zone. So I'm gonna go here in the center. And then I'm also gonna go on the chin. Still dipping into that powder. Around the nose. And that's just for that strategic T-zone under the eye powder setting. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a powder brush. This is one of my favorites from Ray Morris. And I'm gonna dip again into that feather dusting powder. And I'm just gonna lay that brush very lightly for it to set that makeup. It is so important to get makeup brushes that do not pull and tug at the skin. And you'll notice I'm just patting my skin with that powder brush. And what that does is it kind of mimics the way you would use a powder puff. Don't go like this with a powder brush all over your makeup until you've applied your setting powder, because you're gonna move the makeup. Isn't that pretty? I would recommend, if you are looking for a powder that doesn't show any texture, you want something that is a light silicone based powder, like this Seint feather dusting powder. Another one of my favorites that I really love is the Morphe powders. They're called the Bacon Set. And this one that I have that I love is called Brightening Pink, but they have one that's translucent, and they also, I believe, have a banana one if you have darker skin tone. Zero texture with this as well if you really like a loose powder. Powders that are talc based tend to look a little bit chalkier on the face, not so with powders that have silica in them as their main ingredient. And I'm taking a little bit of that feather dusting powder and just going along my jawline, because again, remember, we did put some cream color down there. But what I really like about powders like the feather dusting powder that are lighter like that and silica based is because if after powdering you want to go back and add a little bit more color, if you feel like it's been just taken down a little bit, you can, and it's not going to show texture. I'm going to take that side that I had saffron blush with that cream, and I'm just going to go in and just reintroduce just a little bit more. And there's no texture. Flip it around. If I wanted a little bit more of that bronzer up there, I can do that. And then I'm gonna take my little baby mini sponge. I'm gonna dip it back in my feather duster, and I'm gonna just go alongside the sides of my face like this, where those little stickies sometimes happen from your skincare and your sunscreen. And that way I won't stick. And then I'm going to take my eyeshadow brush that I used, that cream bronzer on my eyelids. I'm going to swipe it on the paper towel and dip this into the feather duster really lightly and just go over that cream to set it so that it doesn't move. I'm going to take a little bit again of that feather duster and go just around that cream corrector, around the nose. I'm just loving how pretty that is. See-through makeup, you can still see my skin. I've got a couple of sunspots and imperfections here. If they bother you, you can definitely go in and use a cream corrector with something like this brush. This one is called the On Point brush. It's got a very, very fine tip on either side. You can go in with a brush like this and dip it into a color corrector and very lightly knock out and knock back any pigmentation. I have this color here. It's OR1. So this is an orange red one. Orange is going to cancel out the blue and red's going to cancel out the green. And normally if you see pigmentation spots on your skin, they've got a little bit of blue and they've got a little bit of green in them. So just to show you, even though I really didn't plan on doing it, I'm taking that On Point brush and I'm just lightly mashing that product into the brush using the palm of my hand, and I'm gonna go just on this little pigmentation spot to show you guys how you can knock it back. And then I use my finger just to pat. And look at that. See? I could do it for some of my pigmentation spots here, but I'm kind of lazy and I don't really want to do it right now. And another trick is you can go a little bit more intense with your bronzer if you want to on those areas of pigmentation. So I'm taking my shape brush, go into my auburn contour, which again, I'm using as a bronzer, and then just pop it on any areas that you have those pigmentation spots. And they get knocked back. And what's nice is even though you use that feather dusting setting powder to set the makeup, you can go back with your cream if you want to reintroduce a little bit of warmth and brightness to the face. The last thing I'm gonna do is do a little bit of a nice lip, and I wanna make it look a little bit bright and just really pretty and vibrant. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the auburn contour that I used as my bronzer all over, and I'm gonna use it as a lip liner. You could also do this if you have a darker skin tone with whatever color that you used for your eyebrows. I use that color called Shadow for my eyebrows. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this brush from Seint, it's called the multitasker brush, and I'm gonna take this side, which is really, really pointy. I'm gonna dip it into my bronzer. And what I'm gonna do is very lightly line my lips. And I'm gonna create a little bit of a shadow underneath my lower lip. See that? And then a little bit on top. I don't like to line to the very corner of my mouth because that just collects as we get older. And it drags our mouth down. Most of the bronzer color I used was underneath my lower lip to give that illusion of a fuller lip. And now I'm gonna take this Morphe pencil that I got from Ulta. It's called Foolish. And I don't draw with the point. I always lay the liner on its side. And that way I'm not only lining the lip, but I'm getting a little bit of color up into the lip itself. Now that's just giving my lips some soft definition. I love these Morphe pencils. They're like $6, $6 or $7, and there's no drag at all. They are so beautiful. They are just as pretty as any Charlotte Tilbury pencil I've ever bought. But anyway, I digress. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this product here. This is called an illuminator in Pearl. And I'm just gonna use it just to give my lips a little bit of emolliency. This isn't gonna be the color that I'm doing, but kind of like a balm. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that multitasker brush that you guys saw me use to line my lips. Remember this one? I'm gonna flip it because look at this side. This is like a perfect size for lip products. And I'm gonna take the blush color that I use called Saffron, and I'm gonna really just mash my brush into it so that I've built up a lot of product on both sides. And I'm going to fill in my color. My tummy is growling. I'm sorry, guys. I need to eat some lunchy. I love a really pretty soft muted red lip. And with that illuminator pearl underneath it, it kind of softens it. You can still wear bright, pretty colors on your lips as you get older. You just have to make sure that you have the right formulas that have moisture in them, because if you use something overly matte, you just get that shriveled up look, which I'm sure none of us are after. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so embarrassed. My stomach is just growling away. I had breakfast. I don't know what's going on. Isn't that so pretty? I love that. So that is saffron on my cheeks and on my lips. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look and let's see. I'm going to take that same multitasker brush. I'm going to mash out that bronzer, get that bronzer out of it. Should maybe get these colors off my palm too. And I'm going to go into my color called Shadow that I used for my eyebrows. I'm going to dip that. And I'm going to really lightly just go on the bottom. I'll try to hold this like this so you guys can see it. Just on the bottom of my lower lash line, just to give my eyes a little bit of definition. Do you see the difference there? How that makes my eyes so much more open? I have a lot of bald spots underneath my eye. I don't even really have any lower eyelashes. I haven't, even when I was young, I didn't really have them. And just a little bit of a darker color under there. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm sorry. Give you a little bit of definition. And then what you can do is take your little baby sponge that you used and just go underneath there on both sides just to make sure that you set it so it won't run on you. What do you guys think? See-through makeup. See-through makeup. And the last thing we're gonna do, I found this at Target. This looks exactly like the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. I think this company, this MCO Beauty, they have really, really upset Charlotte Tilbury's brand because she is just like, she's not happy with this brand. They have duped the packaging. They have duped everything. And let me tell you, this Miracle Flawless Setting Spray, it's just as good as the Charlotte Tilbury one. It just is. It's nice. So I'm a little bit moist, but I'm going to let this dry down and I'm going to come right back. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of that Morphe powder that I showed you, and I'm just going to knock back a little bit of some extra shine that I'm seeing after I used the setting spray. I can do this because I'm a more combination skin. If you're dry, you might not even have to do this. The feather blotting powder that I showed you from Seint, it's one of those powders where it's wonderful for setting without adding texture, but it's not really the type of product that provides any oil control. So that's why I'm taking the loose and just going a little bit more into that T-zone. But again, if you're drier, you might not need to do this. So what do you guys think? Isn't this such a pretty look? I feel like it is so natural. I do not feel like I have makeup texture on my skin. I just feel like I am the best, just awake and warm, vibrant version of myself. If you wanted to make this even more of a natural look, skip the eyes, skip the lip, just do some chapstick or a pinky nude lip balm or something. You don't have to go bright like I did, but you can see how you can take this look a little bit further by adding a little bit more of vibrant colors to your cheeks or lips, or you can take it down to be more natural. Either way, it's so cool to have one compact to be able to do almost your entire face. Obviously, I have eyelash extensions on, but at this point, if you don't have eyelash extensions, you can do your mascara and you are good to go. If you need help with your skincare routine or in choosing makeup that is best suited for you, in the description, there's a link for my Shop My store where you can go in and see things that I recommend, that I use, that I love all the time for mature women. I also have an area in there called consults. And one of the consults I provide is getting you started on a really good on point nighttime skincare routine. Nighttime skincare is where all of the goodness happens. All of the wonderful ways to treat your skin, whether you're suffering from acne, pigmentation, fine lines, wrinkles, and also making sure that you are really hydrating and keeping your skin juicy and your barrier protected as you sleep. So if you have no idea where to start with a nighttime skincare routine, definitely go check that out. If you want makeup recommendations that are not Seint, you can definitely sign up for that type of consult. There's a few questions that you fill out, and then I just recommend products for you personally for you. If you are liking the Seint products that I used in this video, you can follow that link. Full disclaimer, I make a little bit of a commission, but you can go to that link and there is a section on the website called Starter Collections. Now, even if you don't want to purchase a starter collection, what's awesome about this section of the website is that there's an area in there that's called Find My Shades. You click on that and then it will show you different skin tones and you choose the skin tones that is closest to you. And then based on that, Seint's website will give you recommendations, your best recommendations for your highlight color, which is what Seint calls their foundations. You can see the recommendations for the highlight colors, for your best bronzer color, your best lip and cheeks color, your best contour color, and you can use that contour color in your eyebrows and as eyeliner, all that good stuff. So take a look at that if you loved the makeup that I used in this video. I am so excited and happy that you shared this time with me. And if you have any questions, leave them down below, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Thank you for the support of my smaller channel, and I will see you very soon.